There are a lot of forwards available on the market. If not available, then certainly there for Arsenal to explore. A lot of players that I feel Arsenal could go and pick up. And I'm going to make this video today. Every forward I feel Arsenal could sign, and it's not every, but it's a lot of forwards I feel Arsenal could sign or try to sign in a bid to strengthen our chances of winning the Premier League title, adding some more firepower and adding something different and upgrading what we have right now. With every rumour that comes out every day, for example this one, that Rafinha is a player that Barcelona are willing to hear offers for, or this one here saying that Kingsley Coman could be available on a season-long loan, it only makes me feel like surely there is a player out there that, okay, maybe isn't perfect, maybe that doesn't tick every single box, but does every player we have in our squad tick every box? And that's what I want to know. Is there a way we can upgrade and get better? Now, this video I did last week is also part of the reason. Arsenal, there's a lot of pressure here on me. There's a lot of my reputation's on the line. We've got to get someone in. But I just feel like there are a lot of names we need to go through and at least ask the question, hey, should we be taking a look at this player here? The real reason I'm making this video, I'll talk about at the end of the video. But let's go through the options first. I want to start with the wingers that Arsenal could still sign, and we're going to go through the Premier League first, starting with Brian Mbeumo of Brentford. Can play off the right, can play out front, left-footed player, really strong, has moments from distance. I like him a lot. Simon Adingra, we were linked with him, or let's say, I think Team News and Tick said he's a player we may take a look at. He's really pacey, can play off the right, off the left, good with both feet. I really like Simon Adingra, but sticking with Brighton, there's a few more players here. Kaoru Mitoma had injury problems, but look at the way he lit up the Premier League 2 years ago. Is that a player that we could maybe take a chance on? Julio Enciso, again, more of a 10, but we maybe need that kind of profile as well. And as they can play out wide, is that the sort of player that we should be looking at as well in Julio Enciso? So Brighton, with a lot of wingers there, the likes of Solly March and others as well, makes you think there might be a winger available from Brighton. You're not going to like this next one, but Mikhailo Mudryk. All I've got to say about this is Arteta really wanted him a year and a half ago. Could he still want him now? We know that Chelsea are stacked in the wide areas too. Raheem Sterling, a player that Mikel Arteta really personally worked with a lot when at Man City. I think a player he might have even wanted 2 years ago when we were signing Jesus and Zinchenko and others from City. Again, is he a player that playing off the right, off the left, with the experience he's got, is someone Arteta would want to add? Eberechi Eze is a really interesting name because he can play as the 10, which we've discussed on this channel many times, but he can play out wide and maybe in the false 9 too. Eze feels like that really, with that £60 million release clause as well, feels like a way of adding real quality in multiple areas, and actually it's kind of doable. Now this is a weird one, but I've got Luis Diaz. Is he available after those rumours emerged yesterday that Man City were looking to do this deal? Liverpool fans apparently weren't too disappointed to maybe see him move on the way Arteta works with wingers. We know that once upon a time Luis Diaz was a really exciting player. Would they take a chance there, or could they take a chance on Jadon Sancho? Now Manchester United have two players that Arsenal could have a look at. Now with Jadon Sancho, he kind of reminded everyone at Dortmund, especially as they got to the Champions League final, what he's capable of, but he's again more of a combination 1-2 type player. He's got the ability to take players on, of course, but it just hasn't worked for him at Manchester United. Could Arteta again save his career a little bit? Or Marcus Rashford, who we know has that blistering pace, those moments in transition, those moments from outside the box that Arsenal would look to add, but again for a really difficult deal to do with Man United, as he's probably a 70 to 80 million pound player minimum, and of course you've got the wages and everything to think of too. Let's keep going into Newcastle, as Anthony Gordon is a player who has been linked to the move to Liverpool mainly. £70 million is the sort of reported fee. We know they paid quite a lot of money to get him out of Everton before Newcastle did. Good player, England international. I'm not sure he's quite what we need. Has he got that blistering pace? He's quick, but blistering pace I think we need. I'm not so sure. Harvey Barnes is another one from Newcastle that, again, lots of pace. Hasn't really worked from there, but injury problems might be playing a part too. This is an extensive list, people, I told you, and I'm working my way through for a reason. Let's keep going. Mohamed Kudus, probably the most difficult deal of the lot to do on this list, purely because they only signed him a year ago and they probably want 100 million. But the interesting thing about Kudus is that West Ham have spent a lot of money this summer. They've gone and brought in a lot of players, very good players. They've rebuilt their defence. They've got Bowen, who can play in Kudus' area out on the right. They've got Fulkrug, who can play out front where Kudus might have played. You've got Somerville, who can play on the left. Do you necessarily need Kudus when you've got Paqueta, Ward-Prowse, Alvarez, Rodriguez, quite a lot of players? I think he's the best of the lot, Kudus, but has he maybe become available? I wonder. Callum Hudson-Odoi of Nottingham Forest, I know. I think we were linked with him once. Probably not the one we go for. Let's go through Europe and other areas as well. Karim Adeyemi started the Champions League final with Dortmund, left-footed, can play sort of across the front three, really good pacey player. When I talk about blistering pace, he seems to have that. Federico Chiesa hasn't worked for him at Juventus, but good off both flanks, and I think would add that, again, really good pace and experience that we need. Yohan Bakayoko feels like a real backup to Bukayo Saka, but would you want to be a backup? Rafinha, again, can play off the left, off the right, better off the right. Premier League experience is the key thing there, and Arteta's wanted him before. I said that the Kudus deal is perhaps the most difficult deal to do because of, the price tag that I think West Ham would have and the fact that you're buying him from a Premier League club. But Rodrigo, is that the most difficult deal perhaps to do on this list, purely because he's so good and Real Madrid might not want to sell him, but they did just sign Mbappe, so again, is there a reason to sell there? We mentioned Kingsley Coman with that loan deal, Serge Gnabry another one, maybe you bring him back to the Emirates after he was at Bayern Munich, has been brilliant there, Werder Bremen too. Leroy Sané, is he the mystery German everyone's talking about, left side, right side, has played with Mikel Arteta before, and then I'm going to throw a random one out there, Assane Diao, and you're probably thinking, who? I didn't know this player either, but the great Ben Mattinson has made this point that, this is another player that's out there. Ben Mattinson actually told us about Calafiori months and months ago before we even linked with him, and it makes you think, well, there are other players out there then that, we don't even know about, that aren't sort of household names, that might have that quality, off both feet, the pace, the experience, that youth as well, the willingness to be a squad player and grow and develop, that we haven't even thought of, that are just doing great in other leagues as well, and scouting departments will know of these names too. That's a pretty extensive list of wingers I've given you there, and I've just rattled off a line on each one, but again, look how many there are. Let's fly through the striker list very, very quickly. Ollie Watkins, an Arsenal fan apparently, might cost you 100 million, but could he be the difference? Look at the form he's been on in the last year or two. Ivan Toney, a case of just bringing someone different in, and maybe at 30 to 40 million now, that's a much more doable and stomachable deal than it perhaps was when he was a £70 million player. Evan Ferguson, remember him? Remember the hype around him? João Pedro, brilliant at Brighton for a year, could maybe play across the front three. Rodrigo Muniz has been on fire for Fulham. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, when he's on form he scores goals and adds a different kind of profile to our team. Victor Gyökeres, brilliant for Sporting. Victor Osimhen, what more needs to be said? The point I'm trying to make here, everyone, is that there are so many players here. So many players here. And what, none of them are right? I want to take you to a tweet that my good friend Alex, the different knock, said when Billy Carpenter said that Arsenal can still have a great season without a frontline signing, but Arsenal should definitely make a frontline signing. He said, Alex came in and said basically this: why leave it to chance? Being unable to sign the future of the position doesn't mean you can't close the skills gap at all. That's where I am. We can still add something. We can still upgrade on the players in the front line that aren't up to the level we want, and then add something, if not better, if not a different profile, then at least freshen things up and keep oppositions guessing. Like, give them a different problem. Simon Adingra, you might not be blown away with that signing. I think he'd be a good addition. Not an amazing addition, but perhaps he'll develop into that with Arteta's work. I don't know. But you can't deny that a player that quick and play off both sides, who's done really well in the Premier League in his first season at Brighton, isn't at least going to throw different questions to the opposition. Ivan Toney, with 20 minutes to go, you need a goal. He might be a different way to break down a low block, or another way of going to the Etihad, holding up the ball and making sure that we've got another way to hurt teams in transition with his strength, his hold-up play and his passing range. My thing is that it's now August 14th, and the perfect player's not out there. Whatever that means, by the way, whatever the perfect player means. But are you saying we can't upgrade at all? And when people are saying, yeah, but you don't want to disrupt the harmony of the squad, you don't want to disrupt the culture. So you telling me that whole list of players there, I've given you, I don't know how many, 30 players there? Are you telling me none of them have the right attitude, the determination to win, an appetite to go and lift the big trophies? They've all made it as professional footballers. They're clearly professionals, and they're clearly, very good at what they do, and they clearly have a mentality to a point, and I'm sure one of them is going to fit the criteria of what Arteta and Edu are looking for. So this is the point of this whole video, everyone, to say that yes, the perfect player, whatever that is, might not be out there. But there are a lot of very good players that might add something different. Now, all those I've mentioned, I'm not saying we should go sign all of them. Don't think that for 1 second. But I'm just putting them out there and saying, should we take a look? Should we have a discussion around them? And surely you can narrow it down to 5 or 6 that at the end of the window you're going, okay, we haven't been able to do the business we want. Pick up one of them. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Who have I missed out? What other forwards are there? And who out of this list would you want? Whether it be a winger, a striker, how much would you be willing to spend on them? And is that the priority position? I kind of think it is over midfield, especially with the emergence of Nwaneri and Lewis Skelly. But I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section below, everyone. Hit the like button if you did enjoy this video. If you did, you want to see more of this kind of stuff, let me know. Subscribe to the channel. Look out for the Goonerverse podcast, which is coming out later this week. We've got Turkish as a special guest joining us. I'm really excited for that. And yeah, that will be out on Friday. Catch you very soon. The Premier League starts soon. I can't wait.